Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another patch notes reading. This time the patch 6.4 preliminary patch notes for the patch coming out next Tuesday for the Dark Throne. This particular set of patch notes has the trailer at the top and does not feature all of the content coming in 6.45, if you're wondering where that is on here. So that includes the Mandeville weapons, Splendorous tools, the Mandeville questline with Hildebrand, and probably a few other things like the variant mode, criterion mode, and Blue Mage content. So this is just everything else beyond that. So at the top you can watch a trailer. If you've never seen that before, definitely give that a watch. It is a rather fantastic trailer. There are quite a lot of spoilers included in it though, so be warned. Speaking of spoiler content, the MSQ continues in 6.4 over at Rides at Han. This time around it seems that there's quite a few quests, as you can see, so it's absolutely laden with storyline this time, which is always good to see, and I can't wait to see what happens. They say character portraits have been implemented for battle dialogue during the main scenario instance quests, starting from the patch 2.0 quest Brotherly Love through the final quest of 2.55. The character portraits for battle dialogue in instance quest battles prior to Brotherly Love will be implemented in a future update. So this is a new thing they're doing with the character portraits shown for NPCs as well. So you might see that recently with the character portraits popping up in duties and things. They're actually practicing with the character portraits on screen, like the "This is Fancred" meme for some of the other stuff, basically. Chronicles of a New Era quest have been added. This is for Pandemonium. You can start that over in Labyrinthos in particular. This has a series of quests. Obviously, there are 4 wings, and this is the finality of the Pandemonium storyline. Obviously, normal mode will be accessible from the patch launch, and Savage will be available 1 week after the launch of the patch from presumably the, I don't know, actually, might be the Wandering Minstrel, could be the actual quest line in Labyrinthos itself as well. The new side story quest for Tataru's Grand Endeavor gets added. The quest to start this off then is A Fairy Tale Come True, which is over... Oh no, this is something separate. This is a different side quest called A Fairy Tale Come True, which is Scholar level 30 quest. Oh, that's what this is. Sorry. This is to unlock the new glamours for for your fairies, basically. So for Celine and Eos, you'll be able to turn them into carbuncles. There's actually a quest in Limsalem into Lower Decks at presumably this is the Arcanist Guild, to actually go and get your transmogrified or glamoured fairies into carbies, if that's what you want to do. The Tataru's Grand Endeavor questline actually picks up in Old Sharlayan once again at Medina. And yeah, you must have first completed the Sorrow of Wurlit storyline if you've never done that, which is obviously in Shadowbringers. Go back and do that if you've never done that before. There's some fantastic battles in there, but it will be a prerequisite. There's an Island Sanctuary quest requiring level 1. It says players must first have completed the side story quest of Far Eastern Yarn and make a certain level. But oh, I see. So this is yet again another quest line that will show up once you've ranked up your island. It's called an Ideal Marriage. So who knows what's going to happen there. Maybe somebody gets married on your island. That would be fantastic. New Game Plus has been updated with Pandemonium quests, which is awesome. I'm not sure if that includes all of Pandemonium. I presume it does, considering the final chapter of that storyline has been added in this patch. The graphics for the quest icons that display above escort NPCs has been changed for certain quests. So now you'll see this weird sort of up diagonal arrow above escort NPCs. So interesting. This change has been applied to quests introduced after 5.0. Other quests will be updated in a future patch, they say. New items will be available from gemstone traders. So if you're going to be capping on anything, I would cap on your bicolor gemstones. This doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be lots of stuff. Last time they had this in the 6.3 patch. Basically all that was added was something related to a tribal quest. turn in, and once it unlocked, you could purchase something from a trader. So it could be lots of items, or it could be like just a couple of items. So regardless, bicolor gemstones will be needed. Treasure hunt then. Obviously, the treasure hunt system has been updated. There are lots of new rewards from the Cumbera skin treasure maps and Ophiotora skin treasure maps, and the Excitatron 6000 and Shifting Gymnasium Aganon, if I could speak today, have been adjusted. So there's lots of new items, presumably because there's lots of new crafted glamour and probably a mount or something, maybe a minion. Who knows? Usually there's a lot of stuff you can get from treasure maps, so that's something else to do. New symbol options have been added to company crests. As far as I can see on here, though, it's kind of not very self-explanatory what's been added. I'm not sure if we had job icons there previously and demon and angel wings, but there are like 8 pages now, so I'll have to go and compare that later. But I would like personally if they'd ever put in some more mascot ones like a Namazu or something, but there we go. Subaquatic Voyages has been updated, so there's new nautical maps, new areas, new items. The max rank is 110 now, so up 5 levels from 105 before. The maximum number of items that can be displayed in your voyage log is now 30, up from 10, and when non-stackable items have been acquired, the total number of items obtained will now be displayed. Quite nice quality of life changes that should have existed to begin with. New ranks means new items, probably new dive points, which means new minions for me to collect most likely, and housing items. Speaking of housing, the message that displays when confirming the results of a housing lottery in which only one person has participated has been changed. So I presume that's to tell you that only one person actually entered. The following adjustments have been made to message books, so the home world of players who leave a message will also now be displayed. And a unique mark will display on messages written by players that belong to the same free company as you. So if they are people from the same free company as you get a little house symbol. That's interesting. And it also tells you where they're from. So if you have visiting players from Omega, for example, it will tell you, it will date and timestamp it. Very nice stuff. So these are the new furnishings from the Furnishing Design Contest from 2019 that have been added. Let's zoom in, as we usually do, 400% size. Sorry about the pixelation. We have a branch sticking out of a wall with baubles on it, which looks awesome. This big old tree pillar, which is ceiling height. That's quite nice if you're going for a nature theme. Some more steampunk pipes. We have some of these, but not as many as these. And this is like a glowing lever, like a bureau over here, like a writing desk, some kind of fence, and a door. I presume this is a fake partition to give you the impression of a door. That's really cool, actually, because we don't have those. We only have archways. More of those contest winners include these like middle tier archways. That's nice, like a partition that's got holes in it. I like the stained glass. That's very Crystarium or Amarotian, depending on what you want to call that. And that's definitely sort of Amarot designed or Crystarium designed. There's a lot of Crystarium related stuff. I like the blue light, by the way, from his stained glass. It's shining on these this foliage here on this basket, which is nice. Very nice. Very, 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 very nice. And usually partitions like this, stained glass, actually follow the what time of day it is outside as well. So they'll either be lit up like that or dark. We've got a barrel keg sort of thing on the floor there. Pots and pans hanging up. Some kind of like cooking area. I'm pretty sure this is already in the game though, this stuff. I could be wrong. Then we have some outdoors items, again from those Furnishing Design winners. These are fantastic. So this is like that swing seat, which looks amazing. Bear in mind that we've got Island Sanctuary's newest update in 6.4, allowing you to use these items in the hideaway now outside. We've got a well here with a pump and this beautiful veranda decking here with like a bottle of beer or a bottle of wine on the table there, some nice pew seats and a picnic table with, it's just brilliant. I love how this item stuff has recently been put together. We don't just have the table and chairs, you have the veranda and you have the deck. It's brilliant. New furnishings have been added, so this is outside of the contest. These are things that devs have come up with, so these are new walls, presumably. I don't recognize those new tiled floors. I could be wrong. This is interesting at the top, though. This is like a skybox, if you see. It's like a partition that comes out of the ceiling with glass on it. I'm not sure what's going on here. That looks like a starry night to me. I want to see this in much better visualization. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's beautiful. We've got fishing rods by the looks of it, or something like that, hanging up like a fishing rod stand. We've got food on a log. Beautiful new seats, like a book turntable thing. New plants. This is like a false partition with a windowsill on it. That's awesome. What else have we got? Outdoors items. So these are some of the items that they've added. This is like the Limsa Laminsa Costa del Sol parasol with seating. That looks fantastic. These like wooden plank, stepping stone type idea. Another one of those like pools, looks more like a river to me. Very cool stuff. And the size of those mushrooms. Oh boy, that's going to be really cool. If you want to create like a Natureland Fey village or, weird... I don't know. I can turn my island into a tropical paradise with weird plant and, fauna and flora. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Let's zoom back out then as we go away from items like that. We also have these new seeds. These are new flowers, which are chrysanthemums. Oh, that's nice. Presumably with this then, bear in mind, usually when they add new seeds and new flowers that you can get from material suppliers, they also include new necklaces, right? Usually they add new necklaces with each of the flowers, so there might be chrysanthemum necklaces, which would be quite nice actually. I can imagine there being some lovely colours. There's usually a rainbow colour and a black and a white, and then all of the other colours of the rainbow. Very nice. New aquarium fish have been added. Now, I'm not sure about you, Square Enix, but this doesn't look like a fish to me. It looks like a terrapin with crystals growing on it. But that is fantastic looking. I kind of want that as a minion, as well as just a fish / pet. Maybe that's something from the waters of Kugane or something, I'm not sure. The Mandeville Gold Sorcerer update. So new cards have been added, as you would imagine, new NPC opponents for Triple Triad. This could be unlocked through the storyline. This could be unlocked through Tataru's. These NPCs could also be unlocked through the Pandemonium raid. We just don't know. But it would be really cool to see what new cards get added. I'm sure we'll get to know later on. The following additions and adjustments have been made to Island Sanctuary. So this is the basic information. Obviously, there's a lot more than this. Maximum Sanctuary rank is now 16. Very cool. New visions have been added. New items have been added that you can buy with Islanders and Seafarers calories. Very cool stuff, including those new prisms to glamour furnishings into the area. New gathering area has been added to the wilds. It says this area can be unlocked by making sufficient progress. So there is another area on the island. I'm not sure where that is, but I'm excited to see it. New gathering points, new gatherable materials, new construction plots. And those plots can also be unlocked when you enhance your island. New facilities, new sanctuary crafting recipes, and new produce. Look at that. Those look like... what are those, radishes? I'm not sure. Is that beetroot or radish? It looks like a beetroot leaf. Not sure. That looks cool, though. Yeah. Does this also look like a slightly bigger plot? I'm not sure. New animals have been added. They show off the spriggan that they've shown off before on the giant rock. New materials can be acquired from foraging. New area has been added for foraging expeditions. New ironworks handicrafts have been added. A warning that displays when a material deficit will be occurred for handicrafts has been added. Under the newly added workshop tab in the sanctuary settings menu, this setting will display when building a structure, crafting an item, or shipping a handicraft will cause a material deficit for the specified period. In addition, players may now also select the period from which allocated materials are aggregated and displayed in the exports menu via allocated item export settings. Cool. That's nice to see that there's little heads-up displays. I will not have that turned on, but cool. Maximum number of minions that can be released on your island is now 50, up from 40. So if you're struggling to pick your top 40 minions, now you can pick your top 50 minions to release, which is awesome. This does require significant progress enhancing your island. Nice. Furnishing Glamour feature has been implemented, as you can see. It says, the Furnishing Glamours feature can be unlocked by making sufficient progress enhancing your island. Glamours can be cast using furnishings in your inventory. Furnishings used for glamours will not be used or expended as they use it. They will be bound to you, preventing future trade or sale to other players. Certain furnishing items are not compatible with glamours and therefore cannot be placed anywhere on the island. This includes stuff like striking dummies and gardens. That will tell you in the description of the item. Setting furnishing glamours. So there's actually a new sort of like plant pot decoration button. That's the furnishing glamours button now. Very cool stuff next to the question mark at the end. There are 90 slots that you can place down. You can dye them from the Isle Keeps index, from Manage Furnishings and Color Furnishing Glamours. And you can register furnishing glamours as well. Registering the furnishings items as glamours will allow you to place them on your island sanctuary even if they're not in your inventory. To do so, after selecting Place Furnishing Glamours in the Furnishing Management menu, select your desired item, then choose Register Glamour from the subcommand menu. Please note that registering a furnishing item as a glamour requires the use of an island prism. Once registered, the item will be bound to you. So you can store 120 furnishings on that Furnishing Glamours page on the registered glamours, but you can only display 90 at any one time. This means then that subsequent use of the same item can be done, right? So if, for example, you want to place a oaken bench, let's say you want to do 4 oaken benches in a row. You don't physically have to own 4 oaken benches. You register just the 1 oaken bench on this list, and then it will allow you to place that multiple times, up to the maximum of all of the items up to 90, right? So you can do whatever you want. So if you want, I don't know, 90 living archers, you can. If you want 90 gulg planters, you could. I don't know why you'd want to, you monster, but there we go. New hairstyle options for Viera and Hrothgar. Specifically for Viera first, the male and female ones. Obviously, these aren't gender locked. They're just showing them looking pretty cool, actually. We've got a ponytail. That's some of the better looking hair I've seen for Viera in a long time, actually. It's nice that they're bringing over some of the hairstyles from the other races that already had them. Let me know what you think. Also, can we just have a massive shout out for Sephiroth over here because of Hrothgar having the long hairstyle now. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't play Hrothgar. I personally hope that the new gear from Raids and Crafted can be worn by them, including the helm, but we'll wait and see. But this hair, though, it looks like a L'Oreal advert because he's definitely worth it. The following additions and adjustments have been made to Wondrous Tales. So you've got new stuff that you can exchange your silver, gold, and bronze certificates for, presumably new minions and stuff. And there's a new mount from the Fantastic Mr. Foe Unreal Trials, right? You get your faux seals and you turn them into faux leaves. And the new mount from that is actually the bed mount. A lot of people speculated where this was from. I guessed that it was from Island Sanctuary. A few other people guessed that it would be from Treasure Maps. It is, in fact, from the Unreal and the faux leaves directly. It looks pretty cool. It's a floating bed with some mascot teddy bears on it. What's not to love, really? Obviously, the new Unreal is Zavan, so enjoy that. And the old one is out, which was Sophia. Yeah, and they rotate those around every major patch. There's new emotes, but they're kind of showing this picture of an aura sort of respecting. It's the sort of thing you see your character do in the MSQ. I'm not really sure if it's something other than that, like a prayer or like a remembrance emote. I'm not sure without seeing it in motion. Very cool, though. So with the battle system, Scholar, the big removal is Summon Selene has been removed. Now, I'm not sure what this means. I know that obviously you've got the fairy glamours, Does that mean you just permanently only have Eos, and then you go do the quest and you can switch between Celine, Eos, and Carbuncles, like visually? But Celine is being actually removed. There is no button for her anymore. So rest in peace, Celine. Wow, interesting. The following actions will now use unique visuals and sound effects when applied to targets. Oh, interesting. So there are new sound effects and visuals for Peloton, Troubadour, Tactician, Searing Light, Magic Barrier, Whispering Dawn, Fey Illumination, Expedient, and Divination. Presumably, this is to make it easier to know that you are under the effect of these abilities. Although I personally am used to them, and so probably will you be watching or listening to this right now. Maybe Square Enix want to make it very obvious that someone has used Expedient on you, which I guess is a good thing, right? Limit breaks have been adjusted to reduce variance in their damage dealt. Now, we need more clarification on this. Does this necessarily mean that a ranged DPS versus a single target melee limit break will be similar now? Reduce variance. They didn't say make them all equal, but reduce variance. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a reduced variance there has been, or if it has been a total conversion, because I've never understood personally why they penalize like range DPS and magic DPS to have lower potency than a physical ranged limit break. It's very strange. Glamours can now be applied to the Scholar Fairy. We talked about this. The quest is in Limsa Laminsa, if you want to go do that. After fulfilling the requirements, you can use the text command Eggy Glamour or Pet Glamour and to change your appearance of your fairy. Yeah. Bye, Celine. Pets that are moving will now stop immediately to execute actions when commanded. Oh, okay. A text-based filter has been added to the Blue Magic Spellbook. A text-based filter. Please tell me this is the ability to search the Blue Magic Spellbook. That's all I wanted. Because when you're trying to find a spell and you can't find it, and you have to look for what number it is, it's so annoying. So hopefully that's what that means. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the Blue Mage log. So the weekly challenge category has been added, which displays weekly targets. Oh, that's cool. So instead of looking for them in the individual tabs, there's just a tab there. Contents of the log can be collapsed or displayed per expansion. Very nice. Locations of enemies in the following areas have been adjusted. Lower Lenosha, Amarang, and Garlemald. Presumably this is to do with some upcoming or current quests in 6.4. Maybe they have to move some NPC mobs out of the way, stuff like that. It also implies that Garlemald will heavily be featured in the 6.4 storyline. Lower Lenosha, though, I'm not really sure why, and Amarang, probably for Splendorous tools or something like that. The Aetherfont dungeon has been added as part of the MSQ. This has had a 605 average item level. To get into that has just a requirement of a quest, so progress your MSQ to unlock that. The Fell Court of Troya and Lapis Monalis has an item level sync of 630 now. Interesting. So that's been added. The Voidcast Deus or Dias has been added as a trial, 615 to get into that. Again, unlocked via the main scenario. Let's scroll past that quickly. The Extreme is 630 average item level or above. And of course, you have to unlock that via the Wandering Minstrel. Containment Bay, Zervan, Unreal. You can unlock that basically immediately. If you've already done the Fantastic Mr. Foe questline ever before in Idleshire to unlock Unreal, it basically unlocks automatically for you. If you haven't, then go over to Idleshire, talk to the painfully Ishgardian man and complete the quest to unlock it. Zervan is 565 item level sync. You need to be 560 or above to get in there. There we go. Lots of new stuff. The drop rate for the links of Imperious Wind Flute has been increased. And you can also exchange Windswept Archfiend totems, 99 of them, for that particular amount. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. In Radzat-Han in particular. Pandemonium Anabasios has been added, which the normal has 615 average item level to access. The quest to start this starts in Labyrinthos, as we said earlier. And basically, the only real change that we need to talk about here is actually to the Savage in particular, where on the Savage mode, which unlocks 1 week later, obviously from the launch of a patch, you can actually get the chess piece for the Savage raid from the 3rd fight in, or the 11th fight, and not the 12th, which means it's easier to sort of gear up. And there's also less books required in exchange for those items as well. Very cool changes to make people, as you can see here, look, they've changed the full list of what's needed. Very cool change to make it so that you can gear quicker and has more accessibility to that gear if you, for example, do not complete the entire tier. So it makes progress easier. The following duties have been added to the Raid Finder. Obviously, we've got 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Circle of Anabasius, Zervan, and Avoid Kesdeus Extreme. Mount Ordeals. Obviously, Mount Ordeals is part of the Criterion. Oh, no, it's not. Mount Ordeals. Oh, Mount Ordeals. So Mount Ordeals, that dungeon, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Circle of Savage Abyssus are in Duty Finder. Sorry, I'm getting confused. There's so many different dungeons that have similar names. Players will now receive the power of the Echo in Mount Ordeals and Mount Ordeals Extreme, which, of course, I just realized is Rubicante. So you've got, what is it, 25% maximum echo in extreme. Pretty cool, as standard, and 50% in normal. That'll make people get through that content a lot easier. Eurosign, then, so the God Raid, as people call it, the restriction of rewards has been removed, and on the coins as well. So if you want to stock up on those without weekly restrictions and the gear, you totally can do. Stock up on those coins for future enhancement of stuff, though, I would, especially for the tombstone stuff. The following adjustments have been made to the Omega protocol, so the totem restrictions gone for the weekly, and item level sync has been set to 635. This adjustment was implemented to preserve the difficulty of the encounter, as well as the rarity of the title rewarded for its completion via Alpha Legend. So they do this every time. Once you have an item level sync implemented, that stays the way it is. Regardless of what level you queue in the future, you will always be essentially the same level when you queue into an ultimate. It stays as a preserved difficulty. Although, if you look recently, people have cleared it with no healer, so define that difficulty to me. Elegant Tombstones of Comedy have been added. So, of course, Astronomy, Aphorism, say goodbye. Causality, Poetics, and Comedy will be the new hotness, basically. The weekly cap of 450 has been removed on Causality, and you still have the 2,000 limit, basically. Duties have changed. We're not going to read through all of this, because basically it's just where things are placed in the Duty Finder have been changed. The thing I will mention, though, is Duty Roulette Mentor. New duties have been added, obviously, the new stuff. So all of the Anabasios, Voidcast, Deus Normal, Aether Font. But you need to be 615 item level average to actually do Duty Roulette Mentor now. So bear that in mind. Obviously, the changes to what you get in terms of tomes per content's changed. It now has Comedy instead of Causality. And Astronomy is swap place with Causality. We're not going to read through that. It's kind of obvious. Same with PvP. And for area marks, there's no major change, just the type of tombstone. And let's see. Stone Sky C for Savage will be added, but that's not until that's not until the actual Savage comes out. So, adjustments have been made to the following instance dungeons and trials. So the Siren Song C, positioning of NPCs have been adjusted. So basically, let's just summarize this by saying Bardam's Metal, Siren Song C, Doma Castle, Castro Urbania, and Alamigo have had quite considerable changes that we'll need to test in the game to their bosses and their trash positioning, what they do, mechanics. And the reason for this is because of duty support, because duty support relies heavily on AI being able to pull off mechanics. And there are some mechanics in some of these Stormblood dungeons that the NPCs would find difficult, so they have simplified them. As a result of that, the base dungeon, if you do this without NPCs and players, you will find differences. So sometimes they homogenize things, sometimes things are made more simple. Even so, like, give it a go, let me know what the changes are like. and I will do the same. But yeah, Stormblood duty support for the same dungeons. When undertaking variant dungeons, currently equipped variant actions can now be confirmed via status effect icons in the party list. Tells you which ones you have with a nice little picture, so you can see on other people as well. An issue wherein the help text for the variant dungeon variant ultimatum erroneously states the increased enmity effect has a duration of 30 seconds has been fixed. The correct duration is 60 seconds. When challenging Criterion dungeons, use of variant Raise 2 will also be restored when enemies other than boss monsters appear. And when undertaking the Criterion dungeon, another Sildan Subterrane Savage, the time remaining until the Sewer Dweller effect is active can now be confirmed via the duty list. Cool. If you don't know what Sewer Dweller is, essentially the longer you take in a Savage mode of the variant mode, which is Criterion, you gain like a debuff. So the longer it takes, the more penalties you get to stats, basically. Following Logos actions have been adjusted in Eureka. This one's really interesting. Changes to Eureka in today's date. So Protect L. So what has exactly changed here? The effect has been changed from increases the physical defense of the target by 1,000 to reduces physical damage taken by 22%. So this is scaling rather than a set value, and they've applied that to Shell. Wisdom of a Plate Bearer seems to be increases defense by 150 and maximum HP by 50% has been changed to reduces damage taken by 80%. Yeah, so they've basically standardized it. Whether this means that Wisdom of the Indomitable Elder Guardian Plate Bearer Shell and Protector now do more, or if they are just, if this is just wording, I'm not sure. We'll have to go check that out. I'm not really sure how much of a percent, for example, is a defense stat. Reduces damage taken by 64% or 2,000 defense. I think this percentile will scale better than 2,000. I don't know. I'm not sure, because there's still item level sync. So Series 3 ends for PvP and Series 4 will begin. One of the new rewards then from the Battle Pass, if you want to call it that, does appear to be the Bunny Robot mount. So if you wanted the piggyback robot, that's where you need to get it from. So very cool stuff. And the rewards are going out, obviously, for Series 3. If you want to get the Series 3 rewards, like the Glamour and stuff like that are currently available, they can only be claimed until the end of Series 4. So you can still claim them, but you must have earned them, okay? So make sure you do your PvP as much as you can. Crystalline Conflict then. To improve visibility of a Clockwork Castle town, the height and size of certain objects in the field have been adjusted. Does that mean it'll be easier to see over walls or something? I'm not really sure. Season 6 of the Ranked ends and Season 7 begins. Top 100 players from each data center will receive vouchers via the Moogle delivery service to exchange. And if you got Bronze tier or higher, you can go to the Wolves Den Pier and get your Adventurer plate frames and stuff like that. Very cool stuff. Combination Crystals, a new ranking and tier reward, will be added in Season 7. Commendation crystals can be exchanged by speaking with a Commendation Quartermaster. By trading in Hellhound weapons with Commendation crystals, players can obtain augmented Hellhound weapons. So, as far as I understood it, the top 100 players this time around will get these Commendation crystals. I think that's what it is, and that gives you an augmented Hellhound weapon, which is like a fiery version. But the way they've worded it here doesn't say anything about ranking, which is very weird. Very weird. If you haven't collected your seasonal rank reward, a quest icon above the Quartermaster now appears, so you know which guy to talk to. It's the shit exchange guy with the pink hair. But there'll be a quest for it. Music for Crystalline Conflict matches has been reverted to the version used prior to 6.38. Wonder why. Don't know. The following options for custom matches will now be toggled on by default. So arena events and kits. Okay, never done a custom match. Frontline changes then. I mean, there's a fair bit of balancing changes in terms of damage modifiers. I'll let you read that yourself. We're not really heavy on PvP here. Duration of stun, heavy, blind, silent, sleep, and deep freeze has been reduced by 25%. Interesting. I'll let you read through the rest of these basic changes to frontline PvP and Fields of Glory Shatter, and yeah, they've completely changed the map now. There's a lot to take in there. If you're big into your PvP, you're going to read this yourself anyway. So, yeah, interesting. Oh, the biggest change, though, is that Daily Challenge Frontline gives you PvP Series EXP. So now you can do truly anything, including your Frontline, to get Series EXP. So if you like doing your Frontline daily, you can do it even more now and get more stuff from it. So new items have been added. This is what the raid gear looks like. Again, we're going to have to zoom in. There's a much better picture on their special site, but we can finally see what the back looks like. And as you can clearly see, everybody else gets floating crystals behind their armor set, apart from healers and casters. Where is my crystal, Square Enix? Oh dear. Of course, 6.4 items are listed on here in the full notes when they come out. Then we have the weapon design contest stuff. Again, these pictures are not great. Let's zoom out a little bit. But the weapons and the armor is fantastic. The weapons were designed by players, and the armor was designed that they're not showing here. Interesting. This is just artifact armor. Okay, well, there is a new set of tome armor that was designed by the developers, but they're not showing it. Instead, they're showing artifact gear with the weapon design contest winner weapons. So we've got Warrior, obviously, over here, Gunbreaker, Paladin, and Dark Knight looking absolutely awesome. This reminds me of a Bangar Ripsaw. Brilliant stuff. Obviously, we've got our healers here looking pretty cool. Personally, these Fey wings for Sage are a must-have. Those look beautiful. I love how they're slight glow as well. Fantastic. White Mage Cane's cool with the sleeping bunny on it as well. We've got Melee Deeps. Oh, those are so much better than I thought they would be. Holy moly. I don't know why we've got just Lalafels here. Everything looks so small. The Reaper Blade's really impressive, isn't it? Holy moly. Wow. And then we've got the physical ranged. This has got to be one of the best items in the game, by the way. The person that created this, the dancer weapon, you are a genius. You've given dancers the ability to be a blade dancer now. Look at those daggers. Oh my goodness, so cool. So cool. And then there's your casters as well, with your black mage on the end there with his lantern. And then the red mage over here with the glowy thing. Very nice. Very nice stuff. New recipes have been added. So this is the crafted gear. So this will be used by you to progress through your dungeons and your raids. We're not sure what item level this is at the moment, but some of those weapons and armor sets look brilliant, especially the healer and caster. And that's what they look like from behind. Very pixely, I know, on this picture. Very cool. Let's zoom back out and talk about the changes to the graphics of the Valantione gloves. So before, you basically could see through your hands. We showed this off. So on Hrothgar, for example, if you wore the Valantione rose ribbon gloves, your hands disappeared. They're fixing that. That's cool. And this is also the other changes to make it so that it displays the skin tone of your character underneath the mesh, like the lace on the ribbon gloves. So that's really cool. It just bugged out with Hrothgar before because they kind of have fur and not proper skin. So there we go. This is a really big one. The following items can now be equipped regardless of gender. So this is all of the Valantione's emissaries stuff for both male and female previously. So if you like the emissary's dress hat or the emissary's ruffled dress, regardless of gender, wear what you like now from that. Very cool stuff. I would have liked to see more stuff on this list, but that's a really good step in the right direction once again. So let's talk about the changes to the glamour system. If you're in an in-room, you can glamour from an area. So if you go to the normal glamour menu in your character menu, you can glamour directly from your glamour dresser and armoire and in your retainer inventory. So again, you have to be in an in-room, so you might as well have gone to the glamour dresser. But this allows for you to access retainer inventories through this menu rather than the actual glamour dresser. So this already kind of makes this better than the glamour dresser, unfortunately, because the two don't talk to each other, whereas this old system now will. So you just teleport to an in-room. You, let's say you're sub-commander, you right-click and you go to glamour your helm, as they show off here. You get to glamour that helm to something that might be stored in your armoire, might be stored in your glamour dresser, might be in your armory chest inventory or equipped, and also might be equipped by your retainer or in your retainer's inventory. This is a really big change, and I like that. Having the retainers I do have for Fashion Report, where I just stock them with endless amounts of glamour for future fashion reports, that's going to be really nice and useful. Just teleport to an in-room, do it there and then. I personally wish they would have baked this all into the glamour dresser system, but apparently that's not possible by the looks of it, and Yoshi P mentioned it was difficult, so I will take the man at his word. In addition, equipment held by retainers will now also be displayed in the glamour. Yeah, we read that. So, Radiance gear can now be purchased in exchange for sacks of nuts in Old Charlian and Radzat Han if you wanted the Radiant gear, because you can't get it anymore because it's not on the normal vendors. New items available for achievement certificates have been added. That's big. So that means there might be new things from Jonathus. For the first time in, like, an Ice Age, Jonathus might actually have new items to buy with your certificates. Hopefully a new mount or something. Certain items can be sold, desimped or submitted for expert delivery missions. Number of island prisms yielded from crafting has been increased from 1 to 3. Not that we've ever been able to create island prisms anyway. New conditions have been added for expert recipes, so good omen action guarantees good material condition for the next step. These conditions may appear when using expert recipes newly added in 6.4. After synthesizing an item in the crafting log, the list of recipes will automatically adjust upon redisplay so that items before and after the crafted item are visible. New miner and botanist items, new gathering points, gathering attempt and integrity bonus has been added to certain legendary nodes, and aquarium breeding has been added to the filter settings in the fish guide. So you can actually filter which guys go in your aquarium. Fantastic. Brilliant. That's awesome. New fishing holes have been added. And of course, ocean fishing, a new route has been added to the Stormblood areas. So Hingashi, mainly in Yangsha, that sort of area, Ruby Sea. New bonus has been added, new voyage missions. Players may now select between 2 different routes when embarking on a voyage. So you can choose the Indigo route or the Ruby route. When registering to embark a voyage to the existing Indigo route or newly added Ruby route may be selected. Registration cutoff times may be viewed. Now, I'm personally not a fan of this, and that's mostly because most people will choose the Ruby route. So if there are any differences in achievements between the two, which there likely will be, it will mean that the Indigo route will not be as queued as, right, the Ruby route. So I personally would have liked it to just have been included in every route as like a random choice, but apparently we'll get to choose. So hopefully in the future they just homogenize this into one again, but you never know. So the item level cap for desimps up to 640 from 620. Lots of new mounts in this patch. There's at least 7 I can think of, and this is a new one. This is like a big yak, big stompy boy, big bull yak, whatever you want to call it. Very cool stuff. This kind of just looks like an Island Sanctuary reward, in my opinion. It's one of those monster type things with no saddle, so more like this. I love these monsters. I love having monster models added as mounts. It's very cool. New Chocobo barding. This is obviously from the Voidcast Deus or Dias. That looks really cool, actually. Look at that. It's got like Golbez's helm for the Chocobo. That's cool. New minions have been added. One of the minions they show off here is a minion version of Ruby Weapon. That is fantastic. Look at his little evil chibi face. It's brilliant. Terrifying, but brilliant. We also have a new parasol and other accessories, which looks like a mammoth. So Island Sanctuary mammoths. It says fashion accessories may now be configured separately from mount on the pet hotbar. To access these settings, open the character configuration menu, select the hotbar settings tab, and scroll down to the pet hotbar display settings section. A help function has been added to the fashion accessories menu, and glasses and wing accessories now display when engaged in battle in the overworld. They say here, note that umbrella and parasol accessories will temporarily disappear until battles are over. So you can still go into battle with a parasol, they just disappear and then come back afterwards. The pet hotbar will not display when you have a weapon drawn either. Cool. I'm looking forward to wearing glasses and wings in hunt trains. That's going to be fun. So we're on to system changes. So the following additions and adjustments have been made to character creation. This is interesting. So now when you go to create a character or use a Fantasia, or use the aesthetician or retainer's appearance, the expansion pack required to select certain races will now be displayed if you have yet to register a license for that expansion, so it tells you what you're missing out on. When adjusting character sliders, a marker will display the slider's previously selected value, so if you move it accidentally, you can correct an issue. That's really nice. RGB values will now be displayed when selecting certain features, including eye color, skin color, and hair color. Again, this is easier to match, and you can write this down and upload that to the internet, and you can share your creations by giving them RGB values to other people. Very cool. An additional help message will now display when saving character appearance data. When selecting a character's date of birth and patron deity, an additional help message will display to inform players, but the choices have no effect on gameplay. Very cool. An additional help message will display when attempting to select a congested world as a character's home world. So lots of cool little back-end quality of life changes there. I like especially the RGB values and the slider mark. That's really cool. Adjustments have been made to achievements. So, of course, your tanking duty jobs have changed what duties you can do for them. It's kind of normal. Certain quests will display as question mark in a recommendations window to prevent spoilers. Good idea. In order to prevent server congestion immediately after the release of 6.4, field instances for Radzat, Han, Garlemald, and Elpis will exist, obviously because of the MSQ, and the raid. It says the option to display prices with fees included have been added to the market board. So now you can see how much something will actually cost you with the fee included if you click it. Very cool stuff, because normally you buy something, you're like, why did it cost more than I expected it to? And that's because of the fee. So that's something that's going to be always ticked on my end. New items can be acquired from quick exploration ventures. New exploration ventures have been added. And the layout of a retainer exploration venture window has been adjusted to include a search feature and venture history. That's really cool, actually. That's nice. The following additions and adjustments have been made to gear sets. So now you can have 100 total gear sets, regardless of your character's progress, and they can be used from the beginning of the game. You don't have to unlock them. Very nice. When registering a gear set to a hotbar, the gear set's item level will now also display on the tooltip. And a guide on using gear sets has been added to gear set list. Nice. Now we have the icons displayed. Actually, no, this is the hotbar settings. When changing to a newly acquired job, let's say you just unlocked Marauder or whatever, or Paladin or whatever it might be, players can now choose whether or not to transfer the hotbar and cross hotbar settings from their associated class. Oh, right. So Gladiator to Paladin and Marauder to Warrior, that sort of thing. To prevent unintended overwrites of hot and cross hotbar settings, this window will no longer display after progressing through job quests. So let's say you've got your abilities on your bar and you put your job crystal on, and all of those abilities are suddenly no longer on your bar. Instead of that, you will instead get this pop-up menu asking you if you want to transfer what you currently have to that actual job now. This is a really big change, especially for first-time players, because the most annoying thing is suddenly you become a warrior from a marauder, and you're like, great, now I've got to sort my bars out again. No longer do you have to do that. You just transfer them over, and any new job ones will be put on there as well, presumably. Very good. New stickers have been added to group pose. Very nice. Duty recorder has been updated to include Eurosign instead of Aglaia. I don't know why they're bothering with duty recorder at this point. No one uses it. Come on. It's not useful. If this was usable in other content, maybe, but come on, really? New portrait accents for adventurer plates have been added. The following additions and adjustments have been made to portraits. So, lots of new accents, new poses. Portraits will now display at the start of the following duties. This includes treasure hunts and seasonal event instance dungeons, sort of like the Valention's one and things like that. A message will now display in the portraits menu when no gear sets have been registered. If a character's current gear appearance does not match the last saved gear set that they use for a specific portrait, a message will be displayed indicating the gear does not match. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's cool, isn't it? So it gives you a pop-up. It moans at you when you haven't set something up. Ah, nice. The following additions and adjustments have been made to player commendations. When the display of portraits is enabled for player commendations, they will now also display after matches in Crystalline Conflict. Interesting. Player accommodations may now be given to us, given by selecting a player and either double-clicking them or pressing OK button. That's so much better. Holy moly. Having to go into the menu and press the thing, just double-clicking on the player? Holy moly, that's brilliant. You're going to get so many more comms now because it's easier. Brilliant. The position of the settings button has been adjusted in the player accommodation window as well. Nice. More quality of life to make accommodations possible. Because most people just like, I haven't got the time for this, and they just leave. Whereas if all I have to do is double click a player, easy peasy. I mean, I always do my comms, but other people don't, right? The following adjustments have been made to display names. So this is a display name thing. So players can now enable the display of job or class icons in PvE areas. So this is the Mel Materia, looking for party, recruiting party members, party leader, party member, playing triple triad, and in duties. So you'll have your job icon next to your name. It says font color for party members can now be changed according to that role as well. That's interesting. So if you're a healer, you show up as green. That's going to take some getting used to, isn't it? Wow. The option to display or hide the Traveler title in instance duties have been added as well. Okay. Only affects your display of a screen. Small and smallest have been added to display name size. The out of battle option has been added to display name settings. Online statuses and Traveler titles will no longer be displayed during instance battles in which players control NPCs. The following additions and adjustments are made to Party and Alliance chat. Oh boy, look at this. Access these settings via the character configuration menu by selecting the log menu settings tab followed by name. So you can choose how they're displayed in duties and alliances and things in parties. You can actually turn it off. So it says you can choose to select, so you have a role icon above their head, a job or class icon, or not at all. So you do have the ability to change this if you want to, which is really good. This is a cool menu, but there's an example of Cecil having a paladin symbol and being blue because he's a tank. I suppose it's quite useful, actually. I'm not sure if I like it or not like it. I think it's going to be useful to identify without looking what, you know, this person actually plays as. It's like instant recognition. Interesting. When joining a recruiting party, the following categories will now be displayed in the chat log. So the objective, comment, and duty finder settings. Okay. In the chat log. Oh, so anything you put in to the recruitment settings gets displayed when you... Oh. Interesting. An option to align the party list to the bottom of the screen has been added. Oh, wow, that's brilliant. That's actually really cool. So you can align the list to the bottom and it just... Oh, that's good. I like that. Thank you, Square Enix. The default positioning and size of the alliance list has been adjusted. The default display has been changed to the bottom right of the screen. With size set to 80%. Why would I want my alliance list on the bottom right of the screen? No. Just, no, I don't want that. Turn that off. Target to attack 6, target to attack 7, and target to attack 8 have been added. So we now have even more markers. So either A, this means during testing of the new Savage, they needed more markers than were available here, or they thought, let's just give them 3 more. I hope it's the latter. I really do. Oh dear. After a ready check is completed, a sound effect dependent on the result will now play. Oh, that's interesting. So it's going to be like a doo-doo or something like that. I don't know. An option to store newly obtained items in the last open inventory slot has been added. Option to enable or display hotbar replacement has been added. Okay. Classification of companions in click filter settings have been changed from NPCs and objects to players' minions under the target tab. Okay. Layout of a request repair window has been adjusted. Additional icons have been added for macro users. Okay, here's the big ones. So if you're a PlayStation Plus member with a 14 subscription enabled, you can register 1 additional Aetheryte as a free destination. So this is for PS4 and PS5 players only. Now, what I want to know is if I have my copy of Final Fantasy XIV on my PC, which is how it currently works, and I go to play on my PS5, it's the same account and I don't have to pay like any more, but I already have PlayStation Plus on that PlayStation. Because it's technically a separate license that I've purchased of 14, even though it's the same account, does that mean I have an extra Aetheryte as a free destination even as a PC player just because I have PlayStation Plus on that account registered? I need to try that, but that could be really cool, having another 3 Aetheryte, because I usually have 1 for town and 1 for where I need to usually go repeatedly, and then like the lower cost one. But to have 3, like the ability to not pay Gil, that would be lovely. Definitely put one on the moon. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the friend list on PS4 and PS5. A PlayStation icon will be displayed if both a player and their friend are logging in from a PlayStation console. PlayStation network profiles may be viewed via subcommand if both a player and their friend are logging in from a PlayStation console. Oh, that's interesting. So you can make friends easier. Members of the same party who are also playing on PlayStation console will now appear on the player's met screen of the PSN. A PlayStation icon displayed on the contact list if both the player and their contacts are logging in from PlayStation as well. This only will be displayed on PlayStation. The following options have been added to the character configuration menu. So we've got the general tab, settings. So there's lots and lots of setting changes. And they give away what the new emote is, by the way. Hand to heart, which, as we suggested earlier, was a respect emote. It says, gently place your hand on your heart. Very cool. The subcommands for the attack, Eos and Selene have been added to the pet glamour system. New auto-translation dictionary. Data center travel system. Additional help message will now display when player chooses to visit another data center, and a sound effect and gamepad vibration will now be used to indicate a character has successfully moved to another data center. Autocomplete dictionary, new trophies have been added, and the Mac version of the game. Mac computers utilizing the Apple Silicon chipset M1, M2 have been added as supported models, and the launcher design has been updated to the latest version. New music, sound effects, and voices have been added. And that's the entirety of the subliminal preliminary patch notes, although they do feel a little bit subliminal when you try to take in all of that info. I know this has been a long video, but I thought we'd read everything, because why not? And we still skipped over the PvP stuff for the most part in terms of balance changes. Things I'm most excited for, quite clearly, are the Island Sanctuary and the Hideaway upgrade with the housing items. But I'm really looking forward to the new trial. The new dungeon's going to be fantastic. I can guarantee it. And seeing how they end this storyline and lead up to 6.5, right? Anyway, let me know if this was helpful or if you wanted to listen to something once you're in a car. I know some of my viewers like to do so. Shout out to all of my lorry drivers, truck drivers, everywhere. Stay safe, and hopefully this helped keep you up to scratch, right? But yeah, much love. Enjoy the rest of your day, time zone, whatever. And I'll see you all next time for more 6.4. Very much hype at the moment. Very, very hype.